Hey guys, Triple B here. We're getting some more exciting reveals coming out of Japan's Battle Partner set, which should be releasing in English around March with some additional cards coming out. So far, we've just seen trainer Pokemon being revealed, but today we're getting a peek at some just normal Pokemon that'll be included in the set, and a new trainer entering the mix being Hop, who's going from being just a draw 3 supporter to actually a pretty intimidating player. He's going to be bringing back mechanics we've seen in the Sun and Moon era with Buzzwole GX and Lycanroc GX, and just kind of rebranding it as his own and, well, modernizing it a bit. He's doing some pretty scary numbers, but enough of that, let's get into the cards. So first up, we are seeing the Sprigatito line coming out. It has 60 HP, so still in range of Dragapult. Obviously having 70 would have been pretty nice. The attack on here, 1 colorless energy, flip 3 coins. For each heads, you do 10 damage. So nothing too crazy about that. Evolves up into Floragato. You're going to be using Rare Candy or evolving past this, but it's there if you want it. And then Meowscarada. So it's got the ability Showtime. Once during your turn, you can use the ability and put this from the bench into the active spot. So it could help out against like control decks that are trying to lock something in the active. The attack's going to do 90 base damage, but if you're hitting an EX Pokemon, 90 more. So getting up to 180. If you're hitting weakness, which, well, Charizard EX, you'd be doing 360 and one-shotting them. So could be an interesting inclusion if you are trying to make Meowscarada EX work, just having a single prize attacking option in there, or yeah, to kind of bounce this from the bench to the active into control lists. Is it going to see play? Time will tell, but definitely an interesting card. Being a single prize Pokemon, it could potentially come up in like GLC or budget build battles, but the fact that the attack scales up based on EX Pokemon in play, and those aren't legal for play in those alternate formats, I feel like it's just going to be a very niche card in Standard. We're getting a new Iono Pokemon, so Voltorb and Electrode. Voltorb has the attack Chain Bolt, which does 20 base damage, then 20 more damage for every lightning energy attached to your Iono's Pokemon. We've already got Bellibolt EX that can attach as many lightning energy from your hand to Iono's Pokemon in play as you'd like, so it's a very quick way to ramp up damage for Iono's Voltorb, and can make it a great single prize attacking option to use. Like having this to get through a Mimikyu, you'd need, what, 3 energy in play, get up to 80, it shreds through them. If you're reliant on EX attacking Pokemon, this is just an easy single inclusion to go in and just get around that. Also just being able to ramp up damage a little bit higher. To get up to like one-shotting stage 2 EXs, you'd need, what, 10? 10 would get you to 220, so 15 would get you to 320, takes out a Dragapult, 16 gets you to Charizard numbers. I don't know if you're going to want to run that many lightning energy in a deck with this, but I guess the options there, you're likely going to be going for like double taps, or if there's ways to ramp up the damage, but I feel like it's mostly to get through those, like the walls, right? The Cornerstone, Ogrepons, the Mimikyus, etc. It does evolve up into Electrode. The attack on here though is a little bit risky. So 2 lightning energy, it does 100 damage to itself, has 100 HP, so it's effectively self-destruct. You flip a coin, and if it's heads, your opponent's active Pokemon gets knocked out. It is an effect, so it'd be getting blocked by things like Mist Energy, and potentially you whiff the coin flip and you're just giving up a prize to do nothing. It's not great. If we do find ways to kind of manipulate coin flips, like we used to have the supporter card Will, if we got something along the lines of a reprint of that, or just cards that allow you to flip 2 coins instead of 1 to help with the risk on this, maybe it sees play, but I feel like it's mostly just, hey, we printed a Voltorb card, we need an Electrode to go with it. We are also seeing Iono's Kilowattrel again. I think it's in here mostly just because we're getting the alt art version of it. So it's interesting that we are seeing quite a few of these. I think Kilowattrel and the Bellibolt for Iono have gotten them so far. So it'd be interesting to see if every single trainer Pokemon will be getting like an art rare card of each of their Pokemon. So be keen if that was the case, but time will tell on that one. We're getting a new Swinub. It's got Call for Family, 1 colorless energy, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, pop them onto your bench, so nothing new there, but is good to have on a Pokemon. 70 HP on this, so it is searchable with Buddy Poffin and is outside of range of Dragapult, so yeah, it's nice numbers and a pretty good setup attack to have on it. Evolves up into Piloswine, strength, 1 colorless does 20 damage, 2 fighting does 50. It's not great. It's in here to evolve up from Swinub, and that's pretty much it. But that evolves up into Mamoswine EX, who has the ability Mammoth Carry. Once during your turn, you can search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and just pop it right into your hand, which is a pretty good ability, like really helpful to get set up. We have Pidgeot EX that can just like search your deck for any card. and that's really nice. This being limited to Pokemon, obviously a little bit more limited than Pidgeot, but the attack on here justifies it. You're going to do 180 damage and then 40 more damage for every stage 2 Pokemon on your bench. So if you fill up your bench with stage 2s, that's 5 times 40, 200. You're doing 380 with a full bench. That's kind of nuts. Like, you don't even need Area 0 in play with this to get up to crazy numbers. It's just, hey, max out your bench and you're fine. The stage 2s to run this with, I feel like Pidgeot EX, we already mentioned it. Just amazing consistency from that and a great pivot Pokemon to play with. That should be included in this. And then potentially the stage 2, the Quaquavels, the single prize ones though. So there is a Quaquavel that lets you attach an energy from your hand once per turn to one of your Pokemon in play. So it helps pay for the 2 fighting energy cost of Mamoswine. You just Quaquavel one and then attach for turn and you're ready to go. And there's also a Quaquavel that lets you put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, then draw until you have 6 cards in your hands. 5 cards, 6 cards. Draw until you have a larger hand. So the fact that you'd be able to run like a split Quaquavel line with this, helping with draw support and energy acceleration, I feel like is pretty good, because it is going to get a little bit awkward. All those are going to be fighting for rare candies, and you would also be wanting to run stage 1s of them so that you can kind of like Evo TM into them and just manually evolve up slowly. Like, you're not going to be doing 380 by turn 2 consistently, but helping you get there at least pretty quickly by turn 3, that'd be nice. Like, you want to be putting pressure onto Charizards and things like that before they're putting pressure onto you. And I feel like there's ways to get there. Fighting is going to be losing some kind of niche use cases for it. I think Gutsy Pickaxe is on the way out with rotation and Grant's on the way out with rotation. So Mamoswine loses a bit of that. But yeah, with those stage 2s to help it out, I feel like this has potential as a rogue deck. Just the Pokemon counts are going to be a little bit awkward to play around with. But what do you think? Are you going to cook up some lists for this? And the Hops cards. These are broken. These cards are absolutely broken. So you've got Close Cleave, which does 30 base damage. It's going to hit the active and 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that's that Buzzwole GX I mentioned in the intro. That's this. You're hitting the active and you're hitting the bench. It's chip damage, so it's nothing too crazy, but there is ways to scale this up, which, yeah, makes that a little bit intimidating. The second attack on here, Brave Slash. I'm wondering if you want to get translated officially in English, if it'll be Brave Blade again. But 3 steel energy and 1 colorless does 240 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Brave Slash. So effectively just Zacian V again, but it has a colorless energy added into the attack cost, and I think you're doing 10 more damage. Doesn't have the amazing ability that's just like draw 3, end your turn if you found any energy accelerated onto this. So accelerating energy to this might be a little bit tricky, but we have things like Arch Aladon EX that can evolve up and get 2 energy from the discard pile and attach them to Zacian, or you could be running this with Matang, so there'll be ways to get this charged up if you want to go for Brave Slash. The second Hop Pokemon we're seeing is Hop Snorlax, who has the ability Big Belly. Sorry, cat got my tongue. Has the ability Big Belly. The attacks of Hop's Pokemon are going to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. The effect of this doesn't stack though. So it's just like 1 Snorlax and all of a sudden your Zacian can be hitting the active for 60 and the bench for 30, or be doing 270 to the active with Brave Blade. It's pretty intimidating. The attack on here, yeah, not too bad. 3 colorless energy, 140 damage, does 80 damage to itself. It's okay. It would be boosting itself, getting up to 170. So like, could be useful to take out single prize Pokemon. Like, it gets single prize stage 2s, which is kind of cool. But yeah, also dealing with Mimikyu, not a bad option there. We're getting Hops Wooloo, 3 colorless energy, 50 damage. It's okay. With Snorlax in play, could be doing 70 and taking out other basic pre-evolution Pokemon. Getting that charged up might be a little bit awkward, but the option's there. And then it's going to evolve up into Hops Dubwool. Dubwool. Yeah. The ability Challenge Horn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve it up, you get to switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. So that's that Lycanroc EX, but now it's a single prize Pokemon. We have Boss's orders for evolving up. Thankfully, Scoop Up Net isn't in rotation, or you'd just be able to loop this, so this will be taking up bench space. Could be running it with like Area 0 Underdepths just to expand your bench out to be able to use these effects without compromising your bench spaces while you have this in play, Snorlax in play, the Zacians, etc. But yeah, definitely a solid Pokemon, and it frees up your supporter for turn from being Boss's orders to be like Professor's Research or some other utility supporter if you'd like. We're getting Hops Cramorant, so another great attacker for the deck. 120 damage. If your opponent has exactly 3 or 4 prizes remaining, the attack does nothing though. So you have to use it in the early game or in the very late game. Oh, I'm misreading this. If your opponent doesn't have exactly 3 or 4 prizes remaining, the attack does nothing. Okay, so you got to use this in the mid game. It's basically just, yeah, the single prize Buzzball that we had in the Sun and Moon era, I think had that same attack. So this is literally just a callback directly to that deck. They're just bringing back Buzzball GX and single prize Buzzball. Yeah, a little bit silly on there. 1 colorless energy to use the attack. You can be doing some chip damage or taking out some single prize Pokemon. It's definitely solid. We are getting the new trainer card exchange ticket. After counting your prize cards, shuffle them into the bottom of your deck, then take that many cards from the top of your deck and put them down as your prize cards. So this can help with, well, if you prized key pieces, yeah, just get them back in your deck. Like if you're running a deck that's heavily reliant on rare candy and you've picked up on the fact that you've prized 3 out of 4 of them, you're going to want to run this. If you're very reliant on key pieces, it's a great card to include in your deck. We are going to be losing Heavy Ball to rotation, so having this as a way to kind of supplement that, like getting cards from prizes without directly taking them is always a good mechanic to include in your deck if you do have space for it and if you're very reliant on a card. So yeah, I'm glad we're getting something like this for rotation. Also going to be a great card for my format budget build battles where you are limited to just 2 copies of card that have the same name. So if you're prizing 2 of those, you're going to have a bad time. So yeah, I'm happy that we have this and that it's not limited to just Pokemon like Heavy Ball was. Heavy Ball was, hey, check your prizes, grab a basic Pokemon. If you see your evolutions or your supporters, your energies are there, too bad. This is literally just put those cards, you don't get to see what they are, but put them into your deck and then put 6 different ones. So if you prize check your own deck, you know what you're missing, and you go, okay, they must be in the prizes, use this, get them into your deck, and then find them. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Another Hop card in here, though. We're getting a tool card for them, being Hop's Choice Band. When this is attached to one of Hop's Pokemons, its attack is going to cost 1 colorless energy less and does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So Cramorant can be attacking for free and doing 150 damage. Zacian gets another damage modifier on top of Snorlax, so all of a sudden it can be doing 90 damage to the active and 30 to the bench. Pretty good. And we're getting Brock's Scouting, which is interesting. I wonder if we're going to get some Brock Pokemon, and this is kind of like a little hint towards that. But it is a choose 1 effect. So search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, put them into your hand. So sort of like Pokemon Breeder? Pokemon Club? It was something like that. Where it was search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them right into your hand. And then the second effect on here being search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, put it into your hand. So it gives you some options there. It's sort of like a Ultra Ball to a degree, but as a supporter card, it's like, hey, play this, get your 1 evolution Pokemon, or you have the option to play this, get 2 basics. It isn't limited in the amount of HP on the basics. So like Buddy Poffin, obviously getting 2 basics, putting them right on your bench, but they have to be 70 HP or less. This is just get any 2, which is nice, but the fact that it's your supporter for turn, a little bit risky. Definitely an interesting niche card. I feel like in pre-release, it'll be good. In standard rotation, kind of mixed on it because we do have Nest Ball, we have Ultra Ball, we have a lot of ways to just draw through a majority of your deck. So having something to just target 2 basics when it's like, hey, yeah, it could be getting you 2 EXs if you want. It's like, yeah, that's good, but for decks like Raging Bolt and Ogerpon, they just run a bunch of things to find all their cards. Like Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, okay, draw, you're good. I don't think you ever want to be using Brock to get them out, but I could be wrong. Do you have any decks in mind that Brock might see playing? And the last card we're getting revealed is Postwick, which is a stadium, and again, kind of geared towards Hop. So the attack of Hop's Pokemon, yours and the opponent's, are going to do 30 more damage to the opponent's active. So we have Snorlax, we have Choice Band, we have Postwick that can boost up Hop's damage output by 30. So Zacian can go from doing 30 damage up to 120 to the active for just 1 energy and hit the bench for 30. Actually, I lied, not even 1 energy because the first attack uses colorless energy. So Choice Band removes that attack cost. It can be attacking the active for 120 and hitting the bench for 30 for 0 energy. Best case scenario. That's nuts. So yeah, Hop's looking pretty intimidating. It also has Brave Blade on there, right? So Brave Blade goes from 240 up to add 90 onto that. You're doing what? 330? You're one-shotting a Charizard EX? Yeah, I think Hop's going to be a mainstay in the meta when it releases. And yeah, kind of keen to see what other Pokemon the trainers bring, because I feel like Iono's likely got a few more up her sleeve. We did get Voltorb revealed today. And we know in the game she uses like Miss Magius, so maybe that'll come out. It's not a lightning Pokemon though, so I'm not too sure how that'll really factor in. If it'll be an attacker that she wants to use, maybe it has colorless energy attack costs, and you can just like move energy onto it or something. And then N, I feel like N's likely got another 1 or 2 Pokemon up his sleeve he'll be bringing for Zoroark to copy the attacks, because like Hop's looking pretty solid. And yeah, the other guys look good on release, but now seeing this in comparison, it's like, oh, well, kind of balances out a little bit. But that's just my take on it. What are your thoughts? And do you think the trainers will be getting more Pokemon, or is it just going to be kind of like they get 4? Everybody gets 4 and that's it. But yeah, till next time, guys, stay golden.